utilize ourselves?
Well, my favorite verse is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. But, my wife and I start every morning and we end every evening praying and reading from the Bible. And I don't in any way deny the fact that the most important relationship for me is my relationship with God. But that doesn't mean that I wear religion on my sleeve. And it doesn't mean that I want to make America into a theocracy. But I will tell you that there is no one who isn't guided by their belief system. Even if they're an atheist, doesn't matter what they are, jihadists, they are guided by their belief system. And I'd rather be guided by a belief system for a God that encourages people to love each other and to care for each other and to develop their God-given talents to the utmost and to live their lives based on values and principles.
Carson, since you've just come back from the Middle East, Jordan, and seeing the struggles over there going, I'd like to ask you your opinion on what you might do in regard to sending additional military forces into the Middle East to combat the serious ISIS threat that's growing, even though it mainly appears to be a Sunni effort against the Shia groups, and it appears to be an internal or regional political power struggle. Should we get further involved in that?
Well, there's no question that it's a very complex situation over there. But the fact of the matter is ISIS is part of the global radical Islamic jihadist movement, and they have said that they want to destroy us. And I believe them. And I think we have two choices. We can sit and wait around and let them do it while we just, say platitudes and call them the JV. Or we can utilize every resource available to us to destroy them first. And that's the option that I would go with. Now, how do you do that? Well, you have to look at what works. And you have to understand why they are growing. Why are they perceived to be successful? Well, they use social media extremely effectively to appeal to disaffected people, not only in that part of the world, but to all parts of the world. We need to counter that with our own social media as well with cyber warfare to disable what they're doing. Nobody says you got to play fair in this situation. We do have the ability to do a lot of that kind of thing. But I think also recognize that they are boasting tremendously of the caliphate that they have developed. Look at all the land they've taken in Iraq, in Syria, Egypt, Libya, various places. We need to fight them on that front. We also need to keep them from being able to deliver money to people. One of the reasons they get disaffected people is these people live on very little money, and they're having a very difficult time making ends meet. And then along comes somebody who says, now we're going to give you all this. Well, let's shut down all the avenues through which money can be generated for them. And also that includes oil, the oil revenues that they have, because they own a lot of the oil fields. We can deprive them of those, we can take them, or we can destroy them. But those are the kinds of things we have to do. And then remember what happened a few weeks ago when the Kurds, with our operational support, were able to take Sinjar. They cut off the supply routes to soften it. And then they had air support coming in as well as embedded special ops. And we were able to take that. That was a major victory. But there was a method to the way that it was done. And we should learn from that. Right now, their major stronghold, their central command is in Raqqa. There's 4 routes in and out of Raqqa. We can do the same kind of thing. You strangle them. And, you can let the people who are not, terrorists come out. But anything that looks like a military vehicle, it's gone. And, you strangle them. And then they're going to have to run somewhere else. And then you strangle them there. And they run somewhere else, and you strangle them there. You keep them on the run. And you destroy everything. You take all their assets in the meantime. And I think also we have to begin talking to the imams and to the clerics and telling them they're going to have to help us identify the good guys versus the bad guys. And we'll tell them if they can't identify them, how are we supposed to identify them? And we're going to have to obviously put more pressure on lots of people to do things. The other thing on a more long-term basis is we have to be able to get our allies back and get them to cooperate with us again. The reason they don't is because they don't respect us. We don't do what we say we're going to do. We walk away from people. We turn our backs. And why would anybody trust a nation like that? And I don't think it will take very long with the right kind of leadership to reestablish that trust. And a lot of things can be done. And we also, I hate to say it, we got to build our military back up. It's got to be strong. Because that's how you avoid war. The people don't even challenge you when you're strong.
Okay. Dr. Carson, I have a light question and then a heavier question. The light question is, as a ovo-lacto-vegetarian, are you going to serve meat in the White House?
I do not impose my dietary restrictions on anybody else. They can eat anything they want. Not a problem.
Okay. My heavier question is that I'm appalled at what's going on with abortion in this country. What would you do to help eliminate that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm appalled by what's going on with abortion as well. Have fought very hard for the pro-life movement throughout my career. Was a little taken aback the other day when some people in pro-life said, he's saying bad things about us. I wasn't saying bad things about people in pro-life. I was saying bad things about an atmosphere that keeps people from being able to have a discussion. What's going on in our nation right now is that the purveyors of division have been successful in dividing us up. Our strength as a nation has always been through our unity. But we've allowed them to convince us that there's a war on women, race wars, income wars, age wars, religious wars, a war on virtually everything. Everybody gets into their little corner and they fight each other and they demonize each other. This is exactly the wrong time for that to be going on, because you have the global jihadists who want to destroy us. We should not be trying to destroy ourselves. Now, in the meantime, as far as abortion is concerned, I would very much look at appointing judges who have a record of honoring life. I want us to be a culture of life and not a culture of death. And everything that we should do should point toward preserving the most precious thing that any of us have, and that's our life. I kind of realized that as an intern. And I would go on the wards at Johns Hopkins. You see all these people, the CEO of this company, president of this organization, crown prince, queen of this nation, in many cases dying of some horrible disease. And every single one of them would have gladly given every penny and every title for a clean bill of health. And you begin to realize at that point that life is not something that you can simply throw away. And America, of all places, should be the place that protects life and not that destroys it. Okay, last question. Okay.
For mentioning our veterans. This community is very, very involved with veterans. We have 2 clubs that are very active with it. One is the Men's Golf Association, who, believe it or not, has donated over $30,000 in the Camp Eagle Rock, which helps wounded veterans and their families. The second club is called Honoring Our Veterans. We started it this year. We have over 500 members. If you and Mrs. Carson and some of our elected officials have the time before you leave, if you go into the front lobby, you will see two displays. One is a wall with over 5 names of veterans who live in this community. The second part of that is a display that has memorabilia from over 27 World War II veterans, maybe some are in this room, who live here. And they've generously donated their memorabilia for us to see. We're going to have displays throughout the year. It's a tremendous commitment by this community, and if you have a moment, have a look at it.
Well, thank you. And on behalf of everyone here, I'm sure, I want to thank you and any veterans who are here. Any veterans here, could you stand up, please? Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.